This podcast deals with issues about LGBT families and trans-specific topics. We would love to hear from you and welcome your questions and comments. However, we will not tolerate any discriminatory language or hate speech, so please, just don't do it. Enjoy the show.
You know what it is? When you both have that feeling of like, I didn't get anything accomplished, and then it sets you on edge.
Yes.
And it creates more anxiety. And that anxiety is what
Causes conflict.
Yeah. When we were kids, we met at camp.
After college, we got married.
10 years later, we finally had a baby.
That same year, I came out as trans.
This is the story of our journey.
Through marriage,
Parenting.
gender.
And all the changes that life brings.
This is Our Life in Transition. Ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Do you actually... Is that coffee?
This?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's iced coffee with French vanilla swirl.
So what you're saying is that you actually drink coffee when you're not recording coffee breaks?
You know what? I could be drinking alcohol, so just be happy.
Fair enough.
That's the kind of day I had. I went to work today.
That's fun. Well, hello everyone.
Howdy.
I am Shannon.
And I am Rachel.
And welcome back to another delightful episode of
Our Life in Transition.
I'm sorry that you had to go to work today.
It was awful.
Oh, well.
I hate everything. I had to put on pants.
That's the worst.
Yeah. To be fair, I was wearing pants yesterday while we were gardening too. But I had to put on pants and sneakers and like a
Clothes.
work uniform.
Ugh. Worst.
And a mask.
Well, there's that. I mean, I had a child fall asleep on my arm and almost atrophy my hand. It was, so, I mean, I'm glad you got home when you did.
I would have preferred that. I had a bunch of adults acting like children.
I rather would have an atrophied hand than go to work.
Wow. I had a bunch of adults acting like children, so.
Well. Yay. Retail. Anyway. So how are you doing otherwise?
I'm okay. I also forgot to eat today, so I'm having my first meal of the day.
So you're having like a real nice breakfast.
It's 2:30 in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
I'm eating a bagel.
And coffee.
And coffee.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You're not eating the coffee.
That is true. Sorry for the long pause there. I'm chewing.
That's okay. So, how are we going to get into this one?
Well, so there's still the plague.
Oh, yeah. That's a thing.
Plague is still happening.
Which is why you haven't been going to work.
Which is why I haven't been going to work. The numbers are horrible.
Yeah.
And we didn't even really go and get numbers because they are changing so fast. Like, it's pathetic.
It's pointless. Yeah, every time we try to, reference a news story, the last two times, it's changed by the time the thing came out.
Well, the last time we gave numbers was a month ago.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And there were like 2,200 cases, and now there's like...
It's like almost 800,000 cases, which is fun. But yeah, so I mean, like the last time we talked about this, it was, it like jumped insanely by the time the show came out on Friday. And then our last episode, we were talking about the election. And then the day before the episode came out, Bernie dropped out of the race. So
yeah,
you still have other options, so still go and vote, damn it. It's one of those things where like I kind of like I don't even know what to say about it anymore. It's just kind of like, yes, so we all know what's happening. The world's on fire. You're aware of the situation, yes?
Okay, but it bears repeating.
Mm-hmm.
Do what you're told.
Oh my god.
And stay the fuck home.
Stay home, please.
And if you live, if you live anywhere, stay at your primary residence. Stay where the census has allocated resources for you. Okay? Just stay where you are supposed to be. Because you can go to your vacation home or whatever because you own that home, and yes, that's your property, but the census doesn't count you here.
Mm-hmm.
So the census doesn't give hospital resources and shit like that for you here.
Mm-hmm.
So stay at home.
And if you are feeling like your rights are being trampled upon because you really equate liberty with going to work, or you really, really want to get a haircut or your nails done or something else like that because you're tired of being stuck in the house, grow the fuck up and stay home anyway. And don't go.
Because the alternative is death.
Yes, please don't go stand in front of Capitol buildings and blocking hospital routes with your assault rifles and your tactical gear. Even though the police aren't arresting any of you or finding any of you like they should be, and they do to other types of protesters, you need to stay the fuck home because not only are you going to...
They arrested the lady in Trenton.
Oh, good. Well, yes. Yeah, New Jersey doesn't fuck around. New Jersey's like, get your ass home. Other places, though, they're, when they go home, we can't upset them. But listen, not only are you going to...
Well, that's fair, though, because do you really want, to have a showdown with a bunch of people with AR-15s? They're crazy.
Wow. And therein lies the problem. You shouldn't have a bunch of AR-15s to stand in front of government buildings with yelling because you want to go out and enjoy the economy when everybody else is dying. And
okay,
here's
that's a different issue, though.
Yeah, it is. But here's the thing. A, you're being stupid for being out. B, you're being stupid for being in groups. C, you're being stupid for not wearing protective gear, although some people are wearing protective gear and also simultaneously holding signs saying that the disease is a hoax. But, not only are you probably going to get yourself sick and transmit it to other people, you'll probably die. So
not even that, but you're probably going to kill your grandmother.
Yeah. Well,
you assholes.
They probably don't care about their grandmother anyway. So.
Or somebody else's grandma.
Well, we don't know how to explain to you that you should care about people. But just do what the fuck you're told. You want everybody else to respect authority when it's black people walking down the street or immigrants crossing a border. But, it's your turn now. So it affects you. Deal with it. Anyway.
Okay, so that's the end of the coronavirus.
Just gonna get off this soapbox. Excuse me.
That's the end of the coronavirus in itself updates. But I think... coronavirus related. So let's talk about marriage in the time of quarantine. Shall we? Because it's tough.
Yeah.
I mean, we live in a very small place.
Yes.
We're always with each other.
Unless you're standing in the kitchen and I walk around the corner to the bathroom or something, I can't not see you.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's true. I can't hide.
Nope.
Nobody can hide.
Yeah, exactly. I can't hide either. We're talking about.
Yeah, nobody can hide from anybody.
Except for the dog. She keeps disappearing. Where are you going?
She disappears into the corner under the plants,
Mm-hmm. She's here right now. We don't have food for you.
My bagel is gone. I'm sorry. She just wants love because
That
I've
was
been
the
out all day.
definition of puppy dog eyes. That was adorable.
She just wants love because I've been out all day.
Yeah.
She's like, you came home. I love you.
But
it's nice to be loved by somebody.
Hey, I love you.
Except you want to get away from me.
Sometimes.
It's okay. I feel the same way.
Okay.
So there's challenges when in the quarantine thingy. So one of the big challenges that we have, and I think a lot of people have, is just time.
Yeah.
Because it seems like you've got all the time in the world now.
We do. It's just a matter of figuring out what to do with it.
And dividing up time, scheduling things fairly so that one person isn't always on the housework and one person isn't always on, keeping our child from killing themselves. Stuff like that.
That is a full-time job.
It is. Like, she creates new ways to, like, hurt herself daily.
The thing with it, she's so fast. She's like the Flash. It's like she's into one thing. You're like, oh no, don't do that. And you take it from her, and you're like, okay, let me put this in a safe place. Oh my god, you're into another thing. It's
like while she's getting something taken away from her, she's already looking. She's already like zoned in on the next thing that she can grab.
I'm almost like, is she planning this out? Does she have like a series of like distractions? She's like, until like I get to the actual thing I want.
Probably.
Is that what it is?
Probably.
I mean, she's smart, but is it that smart? I'm scared. So overwhelming.
So here's the thing. So, you gotta schedule, like, I've got to schedule time for work, because I'm still technically working. I'm working from home most of the time. And then, trying to keep some kind of schedule for our daughter, and then dealing with, the never-ending pile of laundry.
Never-ending laundry.
Yes. That. And then starting over every day until the end of time. And, like, also in there, you have to have time for, like, breathing.
Yes.
And podcasting and editing podcasts. Yes. And just, breathing. So
breathing is hard.
It's difficult. Sometimes.
And
if breathing is hard, you should be wearing a mask.
Well, yeah, there's that. But here's the thing. And breathing is hard, and not just if you're sick, which as sniffly as I've been. Now it's allergy season, so I'm getting sniffly again. But not in the terrible I'm going to die sniffles. It's just,
the
normal
ones.
sniffles. But, on top of everything else, I don't know about you. I don't know about the people listening out there. It feels like somebody's punching me in the chest every day because...
Anxiety. Oh my god.
And it's just...
I'm just living in constant anxiety attacks.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then, trying to keep a routine.
Yeah, which is... It's a lot harder than you think.
Oh my god. It's like, we wrote shit out.
We did.
We have a schedule.
Yes.
It's all divided up and everything. And yet, at the end of the day, nobody's done what they're supposed to do. Nobody has gotten anything done. We're all just staring at each other, looking at each other. Like, sometimes there's crying. Like, it's just a...
And part of that, too, is just, like, the stress of the situation that we're in. I mean, the situation, like, being stuck in the house. The situation, dealing with a crazy 2-year-old. The situation, like, not having, like...
She does not follow a schedule.
No,
I have a
doesn't.
schedule for her. You know what she did with the schedule I gave her? She ripped it up.
Yes, she likes to rip things.
She has a new game. It's called Make a Mess. I am not kidding you. This is what she named the game.
She did. Like, what are you doing? Make a mess!
And the Make a Mess game is getting random bits of paper and tearing them into smaller random bits of paper and then tossing them everywhere. It's the Make a Mess game.
I mean, the economy is such that there's not really too much of a market for confetti right now. So it's not really helping anything. It's just making work for us that we don't need.
Make a mess.
Yes. But just the general, like, the situation in general is just anxiety inducing. Like, you have to look at the news to see what the hell's going on. But, like...
But then once you look at the news, you do that one thing that, like, stresses you out and gives you anxiety, then you have to, like, vegetate for a while to make yourself right again. And then all that time that you spend vegetating is the time that you're not doing the dishes, doing the laundry, taking care of the other shit that needs to get done. And then suddenly your day is gone because you spend so much time fighting the anxiety and everything else.
And it brings on more anxiety because you...
And then the day is done, and then it's like 10
feel
o'clock
bad.
at night, and you go, where the fuck did all the time go? I have all this stuff that never got done. That's going to carry over till tomorrow.
I mean,
on and on and on.
I mean, the one thing is, a lot of it, though, it's just like, well, I don't have anywhere to go tomorrow. So...
Yeah. Well...
I mean, you do more than I do, but,
But so fitting in self-care into all of this has been really, really tough.
Yeah.
Really tough. And we still haven't figured out a good method to make sure that we're both being able to unplug. Because the thing is, normally Shannon's self-care time would be when our daughter's at daycare and I'm at work and she has a day off.
Mm-hmm.
She has that whole day that's self-care day.
Yep.
And well, we won't talk about my self-care. My non-existent self-care that is still non-existent because I can't make myself do self-care. And I don't advocate for myself to do self-care. And then, I just, every once in a while, like, flip the fuck out because I haven't had any self-care. And Shannon looks at me like I'm a lunatic. But Shannon's self-care is gone because...
I mean, even the days that I am...
We're here.
Even the days that I am working, our schedules are slightly off. So sometimes it's just like a couple hours I'm getting ready. I'm driving to work by myself. I'm listening to my music in the car or a podcast or whatever. And it's just like, even if it's just a little bit of time for me to just, calm and be quiet and not have a 2-year-old screaming at me or like something else going on or like...
I will say...
I don't have to talk to anybody. Not that I don't
missing
love
the
you.
commute a little bit because my commute when we take our daughter to daycare, my commute is longer.
Yes.
And I have probably 45 minutes or so.
Mm-hmm.
And, boy, that 45 minutes of just being in my own head and listening to music and, stuff like that and kind of planning my day and whatever I'm doing is so nice. It's so nice. And I did not think I would miss it as much as I do, but I do.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. So, here's the reason why we all spend all day doing bunches of shit and then feeling like we didn't do shit.
Is it time for a psychology lesson?
It is.
Great.
It's time to talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
I learned about this when I was in high school.
So, okay. So there's 5 levels, right? And at the very bottom is the physiological stuff. It's like you gotta eat, you gotta sleep, And then the second level is the stuff that makes you safe. So safety is like financial safety and shelter and, that kind of stuff. And then the third level is love and belonging. And the fourth level is esteem, self-esteem. And then the 5th level is self-actualization. And that's where everybody is trying to get to, is the self-actualization part. But right now, with the quarantine, we are all stuck between that first and second level.
Yeah.
That physiological and safety level.
Yeah.
And so you can't, because you're constantly, all that's in your head is, I need to eat, sleep, breathe, be inside, be away from the virus. That's all that's in your brain. And even when you go out to go to the grocery store, all that's in your brain is I need to get things that will provide my basic physiological needs and safety needs, right?
And to stay away from all the other idiots who are going the wrong direction down the aisles that have the arrows on the floor. I'm sorry, I'm very frustrated by that. But in any case, I just ran my face into the microphone.
Anyway, so that's why, like, we're never able to get to getting anything done.
Yeah, which is why, like, people like me are going, we need to have a garden again. And there's other people going, I need all the toilet paper in the world.
Right, because you're thinking about those bottom 2 things, those basic survival things. Mm-hmm. So you don't get to the point of actually feeling like you've accomplished something.
Right.
And which is why even you can do all of the safety stuff in the world and everything, and you still don't feel like you're getting anywhere or you're doing anything or you're making any progress because you're just stuck in those levels.
Right.
And it sucks. So there's that.
I mean, it's like the base, like, animal needs before
yeah.
And that's where which is why people are acting like animals. But like,
it's no excuse, people.
And so, I understand the concerns of the crazy people with the assault rifles. I understand what they're frustrated about. I get it. Their response is irrational, but I get why they're upset. But
being upset over a haircut does not trump. Well,
it does trump. It trumps. It trumps a lot. It's a lot of trumping. But I mean, the people that are like, I need to go to work. I understand their fear, not so much.
Well, and they're also in that safety level because they're thinking about financially. I need to go to work. I need to,
But they're prioritizing their own safety financially over their physical safety and everyone else's as well.
Yes. Which sucks. Thanks again for listening to the show.
If you like what you hear so far, subscribe so you never miss an episode. Also, be sure to share with your friends and family so they can enjoy as well.
This podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you for your support. So all of this stuff leads to, stress. The general stress. Being stuck in the house in the same environment, staring at four walls, makes you a little stir crazy. There's only so many things you can do in your house. I mean, there's definitely only so many things that we can do in our little house. I mean, I guess if you have a big house, you could rearrange furniture, but how many times are you going to do that? And, and what's really bothering me is that the more that I am staying in the house, the more I'm going, well, that's wrong. Well, that's wrong. Like, we had, I don't know, a half-hour discussion last night, at least a half-hour discussion about how loud our dishwasher is.
Oh my god, it's so fucking loud. Because here's the other thing with the dishwasher. Usually, the dishwasher, we put it on at, like, nighttime. Like, when we're, like, sleeping. Mm-hmm. And it's, and we set it for, like, the middle of the night, like, when we're already out and we can't hear it. But, there's more dishes because we're here eating all of our meals and not out anywhere. But then otherwise, we just put it on, like, when we're going to work or something like that, and nobody's here.
Yeah, so our dishwasher is like 12 years old. I think we calculated it.
It's older than 12 because we've been in here for 12 years.
It's wearing out.
Yes.
And it's very loud.
Yes.
But that normally wouldn't bother me. But it was all I could think about last night. It was all I could think about. And like...
Well, it was also on while you were making dinner, so you were like standing right next to it. So that doesn't help.
And when we were watching the movie, too.
Well, that's true.
I mean, it's just...
It was still playing in your brain.
Yeah. It's just... And as I said, small house, so, like, everything. And so there's a limited number of things that we can...
I was talking to somebody that had been locked up once upon a time. And they were like, I can just stay in this room for a couple of days. Most people can't do that. And so if you're not used to being in a confined space, for a lot of people, it's a very sudden and very overwhelming shift. Which, keep in mind, when you're advocating to toss people in jail, this is what it feels like. But you also have Netflix, so, I mean, you're a little better off. But it does have that feeling of, like, I'm trapped here. I can't go anywhere. I can't leave. It's not safe for me to leave. I have to stay right here.
But here's the thing. If I was in a bigger house, I think it would even be a little more okay.
Yes. I mean, that's the thing.
Because I could, rearrange several rooms of furniture. I could do one room each day. My mom is, like, cleaning out rooms. She's just taking one room at a time, and she's like, what's in this giant chest of stuff that I haven't looked at in 10 years? And that's what she's doing. To get away from my dad for a little while, that's great. I don't have any of that. We literally have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rooms, but there's not really a huge divide between the kitchen and the living room. So it's kind of like 4, and they're like, there's no hallway. It's just 5 rooms.
There's a little bump out right by the bathroom, but that's about it.
Yeah, there's a coat closet. It's not the same thing.
Yeah, it's not the same thing.
So, we're very confined in here.
Yeah. I mean, and on top of that, it's also like we have to be watching the Munchkin. We can't like wander away from her. We have to make sure that she's not killing herself. So we have to stay in one spot. Wherever she's at, one of us needs to be there. And we can't like wander off into another room.
This
and
is
do
true,
whatever we want to do.
Because she'll wreck everything or herself. Probably both.
Yeah, or both, and that also creates like there's limited things that you can do. Like, I could go off in the other room and edit the podcast in the middle of the day, if not for the fact that, I can't be in the office on the computer because I need to be in the other room with her where she's playing.
Or you could only do that when after I'm done work, because
Yes.
I can't be on my computer and doing work while also watching her and making sure that she's not killing herself.
Right. Because then she'll jump in your lap and slam her fist down on your keyboard and then mess up your work.
Right. Right. Well, not even mess up my work, just like kill my laptop.
I mean, there's that too. I mean, that'll mess up your work.
Not okay.
No.
Not.
It's a new laptop.
Not okay.
No. So, I mean, we're very limited in what we can do every day as well. So it's like, even like the stuff that we try to get done around the house, like, unless both of us are here, I can't necessarily go and, like, when you're at work, I can't necessarily go do the dishes because it's right there, but it's technically in another room. And there's like, it takes me a minute to get over to where she's at if she gets into something.
Yeah, if she gets into something, like, there's literally a, gate between our living room and kitchen that you have to,
yeah, that you have to, like, hurdle over to get to the other room to stop her from being a toddler. And, there's a lot of stuff that I could be doing that I can't because I have to make sure that she is safe. So I'm kind of stuck in that safety level where I can't go and do anything else.
No, I mean, it depends on how occupied she is with what she's doing, too. Sometimes you can sneak away and do some of the dishes, but not all of them. Like, right now, we're recording a podcast because she's asleep. I mean...
We keep pausing every so often because the dog barks and we're trying to get her to shut up so she doesn't wake her up.
But while she's asleep,
mm-hmm.
and we're recording a podcast, we should be doing the dishes.
Well, exactly, and that's the thing. So there's always, like, something else where you're like, oh, I should be doing this, I should be doing this, I should be doing this. And sometimes, like, even, like, you do get things accomplished. You don't feel like you did because there's other things that you didn't get done. Exactly.
And you know what it is? When you both have that feeling of, like, I didn't get anything accomplished, and then it sets you on edge.
Yes.
And it creates more anxiety. And that anxiety is what...
causes conflict.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what feeds that, and it's kind of a vicious cycle because like you're anxious and so you can't get shit done and then you can't get shit done, which makes you more anxious and then,
and then your anxiety feeds on my anxiety and my anxiety feeds in your anxiety. And
oh my God. And it's like awful. And then at some point it just explodes. And it explodes in the stupidest little things because you're just like, because it's just frustration. It's frustration because as hard as you feel like you're working and you're exhausted and you're like, I feel like I did something, so why don't I have anything to show for it?
Right.
Or, even though you are not doing what you need to be doing because you're dealing with your anxiety and stuff, you feel like the other person should be doing what they're supposed to do, and you're not thinking about their anxiety and all of the, crap that they're going through. And
sometimes, too, it's just like, you can just feel somebody's anxiety, or, like, the way that somebody's talking is colored by how they're feeling, and not that they mean anything, but it's just like, they'll say something, and you're like, whoa, what the fuck is your problem? Like, and
then that makes things worse, too, because you're not analyzing... what the fuck their problem actually is. That happens a lot here, like, because I think we are both very empathic people. Mm-hmm. And, like, I think the other day, like, you were anxious, and I was just like, oh, you're just, like, vibrating. Like, because it's like...
That might have been the coffee, too, I'm not gonna lie.
No, but it was just
No,
like...
I know.
The waves of anxiety, I'm like, I can feel it. And here's the other thing. When you're a very empathic person, like we both are, like sometimes like the getting away from people is super, super necessary to like shield yourself.
Yeah.
Because when you take on everybody else's shit, like it's awful. I got my own shit. I don't need your shit. Like, you know, and when you can't and you're just sitting there, then like I'm vibrating with anxiety.
Calm down, Rachel.
You're vibrating with anxiety, so I'm vibrating more with anxiety, and it's just like, And
you don't realize when you're doing it necessarily what you're projecting, the vibe you're giving off.
Right.
And so, you know, you can...
Because you're in your own head.
Yeah, it's like you may talk, you may say something, not thinking about how it sounds nasty. Just your mannerisms, the way you're moving, the way you're breathing, me constantly going... like every 2 seconds.
Oh my God, she sighs like constantly.
Is like, you know, makes the other person go, what the fuck is your problem? What's going on? What's going on? What, are you mad at me? What? And then which makes you go, everything's fine. Shut the fuck up. What's your problem? Like, and
right.
It's just a knot. It's just
a
knot of irritation.
Guys, I gotta tell you something. Let me just be completely honest how irritated I am at this point in lockdown or whatever it is that we're calling this nonsense. It's not nonsense. It's important, but
yes.
Still, it feels like nonsense. Okay. I'm so annoyed and I'm so done with lockdown. I've actually annoyed myself out of phone games. I have 20 games on my phone.
You play games
that
on
I
your
play
phone all the
daily
time.
On a regular basis. And like the last like 3 or 4 days I've just been like,
fucking phone, goddamn.
I'm like, I don't even want to play this. And I still play it because I have nothing else to do. But I'm like, I don't even want to look at this.
I kind of did that with social
like,
media. I'm not gonna lie.
I switch between like 3 and 4 games, and I'm like, this isn't any better. I'm just like, it's that bad. It's that bad.
You know what? You know what this reminds me of a little bit. Remember when we talked about this in, you know, whatever past episode when we talked about me coming out and when I first had time to kind of question what was going on with my gender. It's that point when you came down here to work and I was still up in New Brunswick when we were at school, and I was by myself. I didn't have a car, and I was just stuck in a fucking apartment for like 2 months by myself.
Even that apartment was bigger than this apartment.
True. And it was just me, but that's kind of how it feels. Where like I was there and I'm just like, I had things to do, but I was just so done with doing them repeatedly. I'm just like, oh God, I don't feel like cooking. I don't feel like eating. I don't feel like watching TV anymore. I've been on the same websites 20 times. It's kind of the same thing. I'm just sitting there on my phone. I'm like, yeah, Instagram. Okay.
I understand why people like take like 20 naps a day.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. If you don't have anything else to do, and if I was like by myself, I would be sleeping. I would get up and I would work, and then when I was done work, I would be sleeping. And not because I wanted to sleep, just because there's nothing else to do. So what the hell is the point? Anyway.
This is super cheerful.
It's very frustrating. And it's
that was
frustrating.
Really loud. I'm going to have to edit that.
It's frustrating for everybody. And it's frustrating for your partner as frustrating as it is for you. So, you know, you must keep in mind. I think a lot of our episodes come down to, like, the main advice is, like, tune in to the people around you.
True.
Like, I think that's what a lot of it, and not, okay, let's be completely honest. I give a lot of advice. My advice is good.
It is.
If you follow my advice, things will be better.
Keys to success from Rich McDill.
I don't follow my advice. It's hard. It's a pain. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't.
Well, you know what to do. It's just a matter of following through, and that's a problem.
Yes. Also a problem, I've been told, with my golf swing and my tennis stroke. No follow through.
Well, based on how much I've been irritating you lately, I'm glad that you're not good at either of those.
I don't have a golf club or a tennis racket, but
Thank you, Jesus.
if I did,
Listen, so if I suddenly disappear, look in the Pine Barrens. Anyway.
So, I mean, I think, what are we doing to try and mitigate the stress on our marriage with quarantine? Well, I said, we have a schedule. We're trying to stick to it.
Yeah, it's difficult.
But here's the thing. You have a schedule, and you try to stick to it. But you also have to be flexible, because if you're going, hey, from 3 till 4 o'clock was supposed to be my time, but the baby was being a crazy pants, and I didn't get time until 3:30. Like, you can't be a stickler like that about it. Like,
yeah, you can't be like, it's not fair. Like, you gotta...
Because, shit happens.
Yes.
And the more rigid you are, the worse this is going to be, no matter what, and you have to be flexible with that. And you also have to, and the other person has to be flexible too. Oh, you didn't actually get to start doing what you were supposed to be doing until 3:30.
Right.
Well, now it's 4 o'clock. Now it's my turn. No, you kind of have to, okay, well, I'll wait till you're done. And, the schedule has to move a little bit. It has to have some wiggle room in it.
And you also need to be flexible in order to take care of your own mental health. Because if it's there's been, we were supposed to record this yesterday.
Yes, it's on the schedule.
It's on the schedule.
It's on the schedule for yesterday.
I couldn't do it yesterday. Yesterday was not a day that I was mentally capable of recording. It's just I didn't have it in me.
And by the time we were done gardening and stuff like that, I was
physically
actually physically spent, because that was a lot of work, especially with a 2-year-old who likes to play in dirt.
Oh my god! It was so much
my
dirt
god!
Everywhere. It was everywhere.
But so flexibility is important, and my schedule keeps changing. I have days that I have to go into work, and I set aside a couple of days a week to go to the different storefronts that I manage. And since I set that schedule, since I sat down with Shannon and set that schedule, we have not adhered to it. Because things have come up, and I have to be at the store on Monday instead of Tuesday,
right.
or vice versa, because stuff has just happened. But the schedule is a good guideline so that you can actually at least see where people need chunks of time.
Right. You can't be absolutist, but a guideline is what it is. That's
and it also helps to try and keep our daughter on some kind of routine, some kind of schedule. It's taken 4 weeks, and I think we have finally gotten her on a eating and nap schedule at least.
Oh my god, we found her kryptonite.
Oh. However, it's also at night. It's also Shannon's kryptonite.
This
I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, so there's this lullaby on YouTube that's it's just this soporific lullaby, clinky kind of song, and
clinky.
I don't know.
It's I don't know,
really,
xylophone.
Yeah,
or
like a xylophone.
Or bells or something like that. It's like clinky sound.
Yeah, clinky xylophone piano kind of sound. It's probably a keyboard, but and it's just kind of soaring over clouds with the moon and stars in the background. It puts her to sleep. As Rachel said, when it's nighttime, it also puts me to sleep. So I mean,
it's not a bad thing.
Hey.
It's when I get some of my me time.
Yeah, I appreciate you taking sleepy pictures of me with my mouth gaped open like an ass. Thanks, appreciate that.
No problem.
I woke up and what the fuck did you post 15 minutes ago when I was asleep? Thanks. All right, but so it takes some time to kind of figure out what is going to work as far as her schedule as well. But I think we've kind of got something.
Not tonight. She won't go to sleep because now we said this. Now,
of course.
Now we've jinxed ourselves.
Mm-hmm. This is how karma works. I don't know what we've done to deserve it, but here we are. But by and large, we have a general setup of what her day is going to be like. Even more so than us, I think.
Mm-hmm. Our days are kind of scheduled around the landmarks of her day. Okay,
sure.
What time are we getting her dressed and
fed
and
Yes, fed. Don't forget feeding. We have to feed the child.
And what time are we getting her down for a nap? And, what's our target for bedtime? And she also has a schedule. She has a set schedule because one of our friends is doing story time on Facebook during the week at 7 o'clock at night. And I think she's developed a little crush on my friend, Mr. John.
Mr. John.
Mr.
John.
She loves to see Mr. John. But I mean, so that's also part of her. So we are scheduling stuff around that kind of stuff for her.
And it's important too to check in and see what the fuck is going on with the other person, because like you were saying a minute ago, it's like it's hard sometimes when you're in your own anxiety in your own head to kind of reflect, what's going on with the other person.
And the best way to figure out what is going on with the other person is to just say, how are you doing?
Yes.
How are you feeling? What is going on? Because I guarantee you, do as I say, not as I do, I guarantee you that whatever you think is going on with another person, you are probably wrong. So...
Not that they'll even have a good answer. They might not even know what's going on with them.
But
I don't know.
I have tried to, and sometimes I fail miserably, but I have tried to make it a habit before I start working every day to be like, how are you today? And sometimes it's not even a how are you today. Sometimes it's a like, what are you planning today? Because I can tell a lot by
whether I have
what Shannon is planning to do. If Shannon is planning to sit around in her pajamas all day, I know that she's not mentally having a good day.
Yeah.
She's either dealing with dysphoria or anxiety or both, or she didn't sleep well, or something is happening. And if she's like, I'm going to get up and get a shower and, blah, 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 and can you hold off on doing what you need to do so I can get that done before I have to take over? Like, then I know that she's either having an okay day or is
trying
okay enough to try. Yes. So sometimes it's not a blatant, how do you feel today? Sometimes it's more, just kind of feeling a person out. But you have to check on.
It's communication. You have to communicate.
Yeah.
But, and also you need to fucking maintain your own composure, which can be difficult when you're stressed and anxious and the world's on fire.
And if things aren't okay, you need to be able to say it's not okay, and even if the thing that's bothering you is not something that can be fixed or anything like that, sometimes it's just, oh my God, I watched too much news and now I'm freaking out. You need to be able to talk that out with your partner and say, hey, I'm not okay. I'm kind of freaking out here. And as a partner, when your partner comes to you and says, I'm freaking out here, you need to, give them a space that you can let them talk and, acknowledge their feelings, even if there's nothing that you can do about it.
Yeah. And, that's hard for me sometimes to be like, there's nothing I can do to fix it. Especially if, you've expressed your feelings after, you've been, upset with me. And then I'm like, yeah, I'm worried about my own feelings. Whatever's going on with you, that's your fault. You need to be able to go, yes, how you're feeling is valid. I may not even agree with the reasons you're feeling that way, but you are feeling that way. And I understand that you're feeling that way. Let's acknowledge that and then figure out how to move forward. Right.
It's important.
Yes.
It's important to make your partner feel heard, even if you think they're a lunatic.
I hear you. You're crazy. I hear you. I hear what you're saying.
Shannon likes to tell me to get medicated. What? She does.
Well,
I ordered some CBD. It'll be all right.
But and one of the big things you can do is try to figure out ways to mitigate your stress and bring your stress level down to begin with. Because, if you can kind of like cut that back and kind of like take a breather, chill out, calm yourself down, it helps with a lot of the other issues that you want running into. Because if you just allow yourself to continually get stressed out, it piles up until you blow.
Yeah, it escalates till you can't
deal with it anymore.
Yeah, and nobody could deal with it. Like, whether you have, like, I'm a ball of nerves to begin with, but even the most, stoic kind of got it together kind of person who doesn't deal with anxiety on a regular basis, like, at some point it piles up.
Right. So, I mean, we're doing a couple different things to try to do activities and things that are going to be fun and relaxing. We're calling it the Pandemic Film Festival.
Yes. Yeah. And it's fun. And even our daughter, she doesn't understand what we're watching half the time. But she enjoys the fact that, we put
movie time.
It's another thing that we've gotten into a routine of. She knows when it's movie time. And we put movies in a
well, it's a bag.
It's a bag.
We say a hat,
but in
it's
a
a
hat,
bag.
but
Yeah.
in a little baggie, and then she gets to pick out which movie. She gets to pick this slip of paper, that chooses the movie. So she loves doing that. She actually, I don't know, for better or for worse, she actually does pay attention to a lot of the movies.
She really likes The Princess Bride.
Well, who doesn't?
10 out of 10 would recommend.
Who doesn't?
Commies. That's not true. Commies like Princess Bride. Nazis.
Nazis might like the Pit of Despair.
The Pit of Despair, yes. that's where we all are right now, is the Pit of Despair. But and with that too, we're not absolutists about it. It's like, yes, we're doing this every night, around this time after Mr. John is done and before she goes to bed. We're trying to fit in movie time. But there's some nights where I'm like, I don't feel like watching a movie.
Yeah, and if you're just mentally not there, or we'll pick a movie. There's a couple times that because we pick I think there's 18 movies in there at a time or something like that. We just refilled it, which tells you how long it's been. But some movies seem like a good idea at the time, and then there were a couple movies that we pulled out, and we both looked at each other and we're like,
"Fuck that! No, I'm not watching this."
No, we're not watching this. So we pick another one, or we just say, you know what? Let's just not tonight.
Yeah.
Andrew Lloyd Webber has kind of thrown a monkey wrench into things because we've been watching the musicals that they're putting out every. We missed Joseph, but we watched Superstar and we watched Phantom.
I don't like Joseph so much. It's fine.
Well, there's a special place in my heart for Joseph.
I know.
The musical, because I did sets for it when I was a teenager. Not
who the fuck is Joseph? Oh my God, what's happening? Who is this Joseph? No.
Don't at me. And then we have our garden. We have our gardening that we started, and we also have a plant menagerie.
Menagerie? Yes, this is true. We do have a menagerie. Although my air plant died. I'm kind of mad about that.
I'm sorry.
It's all right. I'll have to put something else in my little Groot. But and then individually, and we're doing things together, like the movies, and we're gardening and stuff like that.
We're trying to get our daughter into the gardening thing.
She always wants to help water the plants, which usually means she's going to spill water on the floor and then probably knock over my plants. So we're trying to manage her.
But she likes the plants,
yes.
so she can do less damage, outside in the vegetable garden than she can to some of our
it's better if she just does dirt
more delicate
all over the
house plants,
all over the porch rather than on the living room floor.
It can be swept easier, and
then it'll rain. It'll go away.
Yeah.
But I mean, but individually too. I mean, you should be listening to our coffee breaks.
Yes, and the coffee breaks are very therapeutic, I think.
They are
for both of us.
I was thinking about that. Especially with the one I put out this morning. I'm like, this is like therapy. Get to kind of get stuff off my chest.
Mine this week was too, talking about partners and things like that. I mean, it's very.
I lost my train of thought, but so I mean,
therapeutic coffee breaks.
So I mean, that's, gives us some time to kind of go and just talk and kind of get things off of our chest. And then just find other things to kind of do on your own a little bit.
We've been, taking walks. I've been taking walks more than Shannon has been taking walks because, unfortunately, Shannon's got the extra baggage of having to, be presentable to go for walks.
Yeah.
Although face masks.
The face mask does help. We went to the store the other day. I did my eyes. My mascara was
Your
completely
eyes
on
were
point.
fire.
Yeah, they were fantastic. I took the mask off, and it was a fucking nightmare. I hadn't done anything. There was nothing on my face. I didn't even shave, which, God, when this is over, I need to go get laser. But, I said, fuck it, I'm just putting a mask on. And it was fine. Fuck it. Who cares?
But you have more to do with, going out for walks. But I try to take our daughter out for walks whenever it's nice. Unfortunately, right now we're experiencing April.
Yeah.
In all its glory here, which is rain and wind. And rain and wind, and rain and wind, and cold and rain and wind. Everything is gray and cold and rainy and windy. So we haven't actually been out for a walk in probably a week, which is absolutely ridiculous. But I'm trying to get her outside as much as I can because she likes being outside. And sometimes when my mom gives us a break so that we have, time to think and 5 minutes without Disney.
There was one day we just sat there for like a good hour, just like not even talking. We just sat there and it was just quiet.
Yeah.
It was just silent.
Yeah.
It was lovely.
But I'm trying, my mom or I are trying to get her out walking a little bit and, being in sunshine. Vitamin D is good. And walks are just good, just aimless walking somewhere is good to clear your head, change of scenery.
Yeah, and I'm, now that it's getting warmer, I'm going to try to get out and do my exercising again because I was trying to lose weight for the surgery that I never had. So, but,
And then she had a fake heart attack.
Yeah, I had a fake heart attack. But, things were going well as far as that goes, and then I just kind of plateaued because I stopped exercising.
Yeah.
But, I'm still doing that diet. I just need to exercise to actually burn some extra stuff off. So
The diet's killing me.
What do we have? What are we gonna have for dinner? Oh, not that, and not that, and not this. Okay, you can't have those things. Fine.
I'm about to just leave her to her own devices. Like, you know what? You can starve. I'm eating junk food.
I'm eating junk food. Enjoy your vegetables, you dumb bitch.
Pretty much.
We have a garden. Go eat some tomatoes.
I don't care that they haven't grown yet.
Yeah.
Sit there and wait.
I'm sorry. Are you telling me to go eat dirt?
Yes. We haven't put any manure on there, or you could tell what I'd be telling you to eat.
I love you.
I love you too. So anyway,
Poor dude, like, oh my God, what the hell?
So we've been doing, trying to do some outdoor stuff, and then, you mentioned, listening to music in the car and stuff like that. I swear I went an entire week without listening to music, and it almost drove me insane.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Like,
well, that's not true. You listen to all the random Disney songs that play every day when we're watching.
That's not music. That's noise. That's noise. And I love my daughter dearly, and, she's starting to sing now, and that's great. But I'm tired of hearing If You're Happy and You Know It. Like, she needs to get a new repertoire. She's got If You're Happy and You Know It, Baba Black Sheep, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and, they're great. Baby Shark, ugh. They're great. It's great that she's singing, but, like, you need to add something into there.
Yeah.
We need to get some new songs in the mix.
Let me introduce you to Metallica.
She used to love Metallica when she was a baby.
That's true.
You put her in her swing and played Metallica, and she went right to sleep. I'm not lying.
I know you're not lying.
I have video proof.
Darkness, envisioning.
Yes, pretty much.
But we're trying to do other things, trying to do hobbies and things like that. Like,
I try to work on my genealogy and stuff like that, but the problem is, like, I have to have time on the computer with the door shut, and I'm not listening to a child scream or a Shannon scream or, And it's very hard because, for me, it's very hard because I, don't tune that stuff out well.
Yes.
So it's hard for me to get lost in my work because I constantly feel like I should be out in the middle of whatever.
You hear me
horrors
yelling
are
at her because she's
happening.
running across the sofa, and you're like, I have to help. I'm like, no, I got it. Everything's fine now.
Yeah. Well, and like I don't know, I've been in such a funk, like I haven't felt like doing, like I can't do any of my needlework. I do needlework. I can't do any of my needlework while she's awake or around me because she wants to be in the middle of it. Like she's like a cat or worse. Worse because, cats know not to get stabbed by needles, but not so much her.
Ow, that hurt.
I can't even do adult coloring book because I tried to like color with her the one day and like she wouldn't leave my stuff alone.
Well, that's also time to play the Make a Mess game.
Yes.
Yes.
And then
like,
then she starts tearing shit apart.
Material rip.
Yeah. So it's not very constructive or relaxing.
Yeah.
So
and there's, I mean, technically, I guess, we could consider the podcast a hobby. So, I mean, we've got this.
Yeah, but it is also work. I
Sure.
mean, because we're doing
Yes.
this and we're like talking and we're like, joking around and this is okay. But then there's editing that goes into it and there's marketing that goes into it and there's all of that stuff, which is, it is work.
Yeah.
And it's work.
Yeah.
Different kind of work. We're our own bosses, but we still have to do it. Get it done. And we do have deadlines for it.
True. And I've got, different, online stuff that I'm doing, but it's like, it's hard to do a lot of stuff with a 2-year-old stuck in a little apartment. So,
and it's also,
but you have to try. That's
right.
the thing.
And it's also very hard to tune out everything else and concentrate on a hobby and say, I'm going to do this thing for me, even though there's other things going on. You have to tune all the other stuff out, and sometimes you just can't. Like, I just find it very difficult right now to really relax, even when I have some downtime. Half of my downtime is spent trying to calm down enough to get involved in something. And by the time I do calm down enough to get involved in something, then the time has gone.
And the thing is, too, like, I think that goes back to what we were saying about scheduling, where it's like, sometimes you need to schedule in the times for you to step away, if you can, and do this stuff to kind of relax yourself, refresh yourself, so that you can come back and be like, okay, I'm fine now. It's difficult, but you gotta kind of put in the time. You gotta put in the time to schedule the time to be away, so that you have the energy to dedicate to everything else.
Yes. It's not easy. None of this is easy, and I guess we could look at it a different way and say that we're lucky that we have each other.
Yes.
And that we're not alone in quarantine, because loneliness is something that a lot of people are dealing with. Loneliness and depression and not having human contact is something that is hurting a lot of people, and so we're lucky in that respect. It's just too much of a good thing. Is sometimes causes an issue. And you need, you can't eat chocolate all the time.
Mm-hmm. We should stop right there. You can't eat chocolate all the time. End. It's the end of the podcast.
No, I mean, it's
Like,
just,
did you just
it's nice to have time with people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, you know, having a week with your family is great.
Everything in moderation.
Going on 5 weeks with your family is maybe getting a little tough.
I wish they could see your big eyes when you did that.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's difficult for everybody, whether you are by yourself or surrounded by a gaggle of people who are driving you insane that you can't get away from.
Everybody's having their own
Yes.
challenges. You know, our challenge happens to be, you know, what we've been talking about. But, I mean, everybody's got challenges in this, you know. And nobody's challenges are more or less valid. We're all struggling separately together. Or together
separately.
Or together wishing we were separately.
But, you know, I think ultimately it's just a lot of patience with yourself, with other people.
And you have to remember, I mean, don't obsess over it, but remember why.
Right.
We have to go through this. We have to go through this now so that we don't have to be afraid later.
Yeah.
You know, and so that we're not hurting people by accident.
Everybody stay home.
know.
Save Halloween. Please.
I hate Halloween. I don't even give a crap about Halloween.
Okay, well, she's crazy. But listen. But yeah, we're doing this and we're stressing ourselves out for our own safety and the safety of everybody else. And it's tough,
hoping for a return to normalcy.
Yes.
You know. Well, some normalcy. You know, we can talk about, you know, what things should change and what things shouldn't. You know, in a later episode.
What?
Socialist.
And all right. Anyway.
Just identifying.
Okay.
Okay. So anyway, you know, stay strong.
Mm-hmm. You got this.
And you know, maybe in a few weeks, you know, if we stay strong now, in a month or so, maybe things will be on the upswing.
Yeah.
You know? In the meantime, keep looking out for our coffee breaks and things like that.
Yep.
There will be more because it's our only way of getting away from each other. All right. So, thanks for listening. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Shannon.
And this has been
Our Life in Transition.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you again for listening to Our Life in Transition.
This show is hosted by Rachel and Shannon McDill.
Our producer and editor is Shannon McDill.
Our theme music is Seize the Day by Jens Kiilstofte.
Support us on Patreon at patreon.com/olitpod. That's /OLITPOD.
Your support makes this show possible. Thank you.